Hey, what's going on there, small craft anglers? Brian here. I got the wife out of town and the kids at school. I've got this Old Town ePDL that's been sitting here for the last month in the living room. I thought we might go ahead and throw it up on the dining room table and get some Navarre Kayak Fishing accessories installed on it. So I'm gonna need you guys to stick around so I don't get in trouble with the wife. Let's go. Let's get this. Let's see how we're gonna do this without scratching the table. I can't promise you that's not gonna happen, but we're gonna try not to. All right. So far, so good. Hopefully that kayak doesn't have anything on it that's gonna scratch the table. Else we're gonna have to get sandpaper out to fix it. All right. All right, guys. That worked about as perfect as I thought it would. Look at that. Yes, sir. That's a workspace right there. That's what I say. My wife might say that's the dining room table. I say that's a workspace. All right, guys. Here we have laid out our Navarre Kayak Fishing accessories and some tools that we're going to use. I'm going to go over them real quick with you. Use my notes here so I don't forget anything. This is the Old Town front rail replacements on the kayak. We've used all of these accessories before on the last two kayaks, so we're just copying that. But we've never done a full video on just the Navarre Kayak Fishing, so that's what we're doing here. Probably follow this up with the Yak Attack on the accessories we use for them. But number two, this is the this is the Navarre Kayak Fishing Keel Guard with the amazing goop. It's marine grade goop that you use to put that on, and you'll watch us install that. This here is the ePDL steering knob on orange. That's a tall knob there. That's what I use on the other kayaks. The Old Town rod tube covers. So these are going to cover the rod tube holes. That right there. So when you're washing it or when it's raining, water doesn't run down quickly into that. This here is the Old Town rudder bolt. Replacement rudder bolt. This is how Old Town used to send them out, and this is a stainless steel piece, so it's really nice and it's worked well in the other ones. Let's see what else we got. This here is the Old Town extension skid plate. So this is going to go on the rear of the kayak, so if you need to drag it anywhere or do anything like that, it's really thick plastic, so that way you don't mess up the rear of your kayak. Here, we're not going to do this today, but this is the rudder replacement from Navarre Kayak Fishing. It's a metal rudder replacement. It's supposed to help the kayak steer a lot better than the plastic. The plastic will flex when you need to turn, especially quickly, and this is supposed to help with that. I have 3 of these. I've yet to put them on. It's a little over my head. I need to watch a few more videos before I dive deep into that, but I just wanted to point that out. That's definitely one of the things that I will change soon, probably this winter. So the other 2 items are over here on the drive. They're already on. This is the spacers. There's one on each side of the drive. That when you pedal this drive, it wobbles back and forth. These spacers take the wobble out of that while you're pedaling. So I put those on before I ever even take this thing out in the water. Else you're gonna have a slight wobble. It's kind of annoying. So yeah, that's one of the first things we change. And the last thing is this orange floating prop nut here. So that just makes it really easy when you're out there. If you get line or seaweed or anything lodged up in this just comes off quickly and you can pop this right out. Or if you want to change this, as you can see, mine's kind of getting chewed up by the oysters. So I either need to sand these down a little bit or just go ahead and put a new one on there. My thought kind of was they're pretty cheap. Just put a new one on every year or every 6 months. But yeah, anyway, that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be working on the boat. Like I said, behind me, up on the dining room table. Know the wife will love that when she sees this. Hopefully she doesn't. But yeah, man, let's get into it. All right, the first thing we are going to be replacing is the Old Town front rail replacements sitting here. So here's what the old ones look like. Here's what the new ones are going to look like once they're on there. You can see, well, that's the wrong side. It would help if I got the right side. You can see how much wider they're going to be. Yeah, they're a lot wider. They give you a lot more space. See on here, there's only, I don't know, an inch or two. This allows you to use the whole rail thing and drop kayak accessories from Yak Attack and whatnot on there. So we're going to go ahead and get these off, and then we will get those put on. All right. 1, 2. This is really simple, guys. Who knows, we might even speed this up. All right, that's off. How did I have it on my other kayak? I believe I've got everything like this. So I think that will go on that side. And I believe this would go on this side. I do that. I think you can do them either way, but I like it so this is placed back closer to me for pliers and my fish grips and everything to slide into. So I'm pretty sure that's how I did it on my other ones. All right. Get those started. Alright, let's get the second side off. Alright, that looks pretty good to me. Be able to get my pliers back here, my fish grips, and then I usually have a fish board holder sitting up here. So, not exactly sure we're going to do it exact as the other ones, but we'll see. Alright guys, next we're going to do the Kayak Keel Guard for the ePDL here. The first thing we're going to do is take this alcohol wipe that is provided, and we are going to wipe down the area in the back of the keel guard and on the boat where we're going to place it, just to remove any grease or grime that might be on the kayak, or that would prevent the goop from drying on their well. So let me turn this other camera on so we can get a better view, hopefully. Yeah, so we're just going to wipe this off. Where, like I said, we're going to put the keel guard. Let Let it dry. So I'm not sure if you can see. Let me see if I can get in here. I've already made a line right here, like where I want the keel guard to sit. So it's gonna sit just like that for me. Hopefully you guys can see that all right. Sorry about the lighting. It's kind of dark in here. Maybe I'll turn the overhead on. But yeah, I'm gonna put some of the goop on there. Then once we do that, I take a little tape usually and I roll it around both sides to hold that on there. So let's get some goop. Hopefully we don't make too much of a mess with this stuff. Actually, let me turn the lights on. Like I said, maybe that'll help. There we go. But yeah. Get some of this marine goop on. I now have 3 things of this marine goop because every time you order, they send you the whole thing. So I have 2 other ones that I have in case I need to use it. Oh man. Trying not to make too big of a mess. This stuff dries pretty quickly. Not real quickly. You can move it around a little bit. But, oop, still coming out. Don't want that. All right, I'm just going to take my finger and roll it around on the inside of this a little bit, spread it on. There we go. A little more on the bottom for good measure. Why not? All right, let's see where that line's at. There it is. And all right, there we go, guys. Oh, my camera's not open, sorry. All right, a piece of tape and just push up on that to help it hold itself there until it dries. Then I'll rip that off a little bit. Once this is done drying too, I take another bead of that stuff and I kind of just go around the outside of it. Probably need to redo it on the other ePDLs every once in a while just because make sure no water's getting in there and it's staying tight. But all right, guys, I think that looks pretty good. So we're gonna let that sit with the tape and dry for a while and we're gonna move on to our next project. All right, guys, next we got our ePDL steering knob from Navarre Kayak. Get that out. So it's got a place for 2 bolts here. 1, 2. I believe the one that comes on the Old Town is the longer bolt and it goes in the back, and then this one just sits here in the front, if I remember right. We got to take a screwdriver and pry this the knob on here. I do not like this knob that comes with this at all. I mean, to be honest, I've never used it. I think you can lock it down like that. And then it's just really small, like in contrast. Look how big this thing is. So that's gonna sit right in here. This whole piece is gonna come off. I'm gonna pry this off here in a minute, but yeah, when you're out there all day, you want, and that rudder is hard to move around, especially when the water's moving. So this just makes it so much easier to grab onto compared to that. I guess if you have really small hands, that might work for you, but this thing works way better for me. So let's see if we can't get that pried off. There we go. So I don't know if you saw how I did that. You just kind of pull back on it and it pops off, and that exposes a screw right there. So now we're going to take that screw off. Get the Ryobi out. All right, there goes that. Like I said, we are going to need this shorter screw. We're going to use it again. That goes, let's see. I was right. Your shorter screw is going to go in the rear. Your longer screw is going to go in the front of that. And we've got to remove one more thing here. Take that off. You're not going to need that anymore. All right. Let's get a screwdriver. Do not want to cross thread these, so I'm going to be super careful. There we go. The rear is going in. Front is going in. All right, guys. I'd say that's good. That thing is beautiful, and like I said, you get your whole hand on that thing versus that little knob. Love it because you can get that big grip on there. And let's just make sure we got it tight. But yeah, I have this is on all of them. First thing I do, I've never even used that ball because that thing is just chintzy. I mean, come on, Old Town, $6,000 and you can't do something like this? That ain't even that big of a deal. Also going to tighten these up while I'm sitting here just to make sure, since it was used when I bought it. Make sure all these screws are tight. Which they feel pretty tight. They're moving, they're barely moving. All right, guys, so I'm going to check the list. So far, we've got the Old Town front rail replaced. We've got the Kayak Keel Guard up there. Glued that on, and we're waiting for it to dry. And now we got the ePDL orange steering knob done. So the next thing we're going to do is the Old Town rod tube covers. Those are super simple. So here's these are the rod tube covers. We've got 3 of these on the boat, 1 in the front, 2 in the rear. They come with this little spacer, I call it. It basically goes in here and you just take one of the screws off and you drill it on the boat. So I'll show you that here in a second. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that. It goes in just like that. So they're pretty easy. All right, guys, we are just going to pull this front screw out. You don't need this screw. It's a little bit shorter than the ones provided, so you're going to use the replacement screw that they give you from Navarre. want to make sure it spins around. Make sure it closes. Works good. All right, 1 down, 2 to go. All right, simple as that, guys. On to the next one. All right, next we got the Old Town rudder bolt, which is going to replace this is a stainless steel rudder bolt. It's going to replace the bolt that comes with it. All right, guys, the first thing we have to do with this bolt is take the split ring off, which we're not going to need anymore, because we are actually going to put a bolt on there. All right, here's your split ring. Like I said, we're not going to need that anymore. And all we're going to do, if I remember right, is start to line this up and push this out. All right, we're going to take the old bolt and we are going to use we're going to take the new bolt and hopefully push the old bolt out. Got it. Got it. Lay that down. And now we're going to take the new bolt. We got metal washer, plastic washer, and we are just going to try to hopefully line that up and push it down. Just jiggle it till it goes. Wiggle it and jiggle it until it lines up. There we go. Oh, I'm pulling on it myself. There we go. All right, guys, I don't know if I mentioned this is zinc coated, so it'll last like 30 years before it rusts or anything like that. So now we are going to place the nylon washer. Nylon washer, then the steel washer, and then the screw on. And that is pretty much going to be that, guys. I've got to get a screwdriver, and I do have to get a wrench to hold that so I can tighten it on. Got a 7/16 for the bottom, screwdriver for the top, and we are just going to tighten this thing best we can. You don't want to over tighten it because you want this thing to move smooth like butter. Looks good to me, guys. It looks good to me. You can put that back. Get one more close up. So you've got your screw at the top, your screw coming through, and then you've got your bolt here at the end with your washers in between. So that is all done. On to the next one. All right, guys, next we have the skid plate for the rear of the kayak. Get that opened up. This is a really thick, I don't know if it's plastic or something harder than that, but I already have it on the other two. It allows you to drag it, you know, on and off the truck. If you need to drag your kayak at all, look at the thickness of this thing. It's about a 1/2 inch thick, definitely a 1/4 inch. All you're going to do is replace this. Is super simple to do, but anyway, it makes a huge difference because you have all this. When I come into the kayak landing, usually my kayak is like this on the ground and I'm pulling it up, you know, dragging it a little bit into my truck, and all this takes the beating and not the bottom of your kayak. So I really like this here. So let's get this on. Hopefully the other camera can get a better angle. I will try to straighten this out best I can so you can see it. This is the piece here. Right here we're going to take off, and then we're going to replace it with that there. It extends it a little bit in the back too. You get a little more coverage, so let's go ahead and get this off. There's the rear bolt. There's the front bolt. Oop. All right, guys, real quick before I put this back on, let me go over here where you can see on the white countertop the comparison of these two. So here's the one that came on it. You can see it's already dinged up pretty good, and I mean this one's going to get dinged up too. I guess they're it's definitely a little bit longer, about a 1/4 inch longer, and definitely way thicker, if you can see that. I mean, this one will definitely work, but the thickness of this compared to that is crazy. And kind of set it and forget it. If you need to drag it, and you don't have anything to worry about. I think it's worth it. Let's go ahead and get this thing on. Again, just hand tightening this stuff so we don't strip anything, but I do want them to get tight because this is on the back of the kayak. All right, guys, and that is done just like that. Hopefully you can see that. See how it sticks off just about a 1/4 inch in the back, but super thick. Definitely like that upgrade. On to the next one. All right, guys, number 7 and 8 are on the drive and they've already been installed, so I'm just going to show you here. The first one is going to be the drive spacers. You're going to see that there's one on each side of the drive, and what that stops is when you're pedaling, it tends to wobble side to side, side to side. So the spacers here take the wobble out, and it just makes it a nicer experience while you're out there pedaling. I actually put these on before I ever even took the kayak out, like I said, so I've never experienced it without. I saw someone was complaining about it on YouTube, so I just went ahead and put them on. So that was that. So that's number 7. Number 8 is going to be the floating prop nut. That's back here on the rear of the drive. This is the orange floating prop nut by Navarre Kayak. You can just install this and it's easy on, easy off. If you're out on the water and you happen to get a line caught up in your prop, you just pop this off. It does float, so if you lose it, you just look around and it should be floating behind you. And then you're able to just pop that off. And you actually have access to your shear pin here in case that were to break. I carry an extra one with me out on the water, but when you want to just put this back on, you just pop it back on like that, and then you just go ahead and tighten that up hand tight and you're done. But it makes it super easy to service while you're out on the water. That's why I love it. The one that comes with it does not float and is not orange. So this is easy to see, and like I said, if you lose it in the water, it should be floating like a bobber. So easy to find. All right, guys, last but not least is Navarre Kayak Fishing's rudder replacement for the Old Town ePDL 132. This is an aluminum replacement. The one that comes on the kayak is plastic. So what you're gonna get from this is less flex and hopefully tighter steering, definitely when in current. When I'm in current, sometimes I can feel that plastic rudder just bending in the current, and this should be a little more stiff and offer tighter steering. So I'm looking forward to getting that on the kayak. I have 3 of these ready to go. I have yet to install one. I need to watch his installation video a little further. The installation over this is probably a little above my pay grade and over my head, but I will report back once I get it on the kayak and see exactly how it performs. All right, guys, well, I appreciate everyone who made it to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed this video of Navarre Kayak Fishing accessories. You can see all the accessories that I installed here at navarrekayakfishing.com. They're a great company. I highly recommend them. Not sponsored whatsoever. Just love good American companies. They're doing business down in Florida. So if you have an Old Town and you need some parts, make sure you check out their website. And anyway, like I said, appreciate everyone watching the video. If you like what we're doing here, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.